Have you ever had a moment where you sat quietly, looked around and thought, how did I end up here? I remember that feeling all too well. When I first made the decision to move into a nursing home, it seemed like the right thing to do. Everyone told me it would be safer, easier, better. And maybe you're in a place right now where you're wondering the same thing. Is it time? Is it the right move for me? If you're even asking that question, you're not alone. So many of us reach a point where daily tasks get harder and suddenly the idea of extra help sounds appealing. But what I wasn't prepared for were the deeper changes, the ones no one really talks about. Today I want to share with you 6 hard truths I learned the hard way. Not to scare you, but to help you make the decision that's truly right for you, not just the one that feels expected. The first truth hit me faster than I could have imagined. You lose a lot more independence than you think. Before moving, I used to think I needed a little help, just someone to keep an eye out in case I slipped or forgot a medication. But once I was in the system, everything changed. Suddenly, my schedule wasn't mine anymore. Meals were served at certain times, activities were planned out. Even simple choices, like when I wanted to take a walk or have a snack, were tied to someone else's clock. It felt like parts of me were slowly being packed away, like boxes in a dusty attic. And let me tell you, when you've spent decades building a life, making your own choices, living on your own terms, losing that freedom cuts deeper than you expect. I thought I was giving up chores and stress. I didn't realize I was handing over my independence piece by piece. Now that doesn't mean every nursing home is bad or that everyone will feel the same, but it's important to ask yourself, how much freedom are you willing to trade for convenience? Because once you hand it over, getting it back isn't easy. The second hard truth crept up more quietly. You start to feel invisible. When I first moved in, there was a lot of attention. Tours, introductions, welcome committees. But as the days stretched into weeks, something shifted. Staff were busy. Other residents had their own routines. Conversations became shorter. Smiles became more polite than warm. Slowly, I felt myself blending into the background, just another body in a wheelchair, another name on a list. I know it's not intentional. Caregivers work hard, and there's only so much they can do in a day. But the reality is, in a place filled with so many people needing help, it's easy to feel like you're just one more chore on a long to-do list. And if you're not careful, you start to believe it yourself. You start shrinking, not just in your body, but in your spirit. And that's something no one warns you about. Maybe you've felt something like that already. Times when you visit a doctor's office or a busy store, and you feel like you're not really being seen anymore. Multiply that feeling by days, weeks, months, and it starts to wear on you. That's why I always tell anyone considering this move, don't just look at the building or the brochures. Look at how the residents are treated. Listen to how they speak about the staff. Pay attention to whether people are laughing, chatting, living, or just existing. Because you deserve to be seen, you deserve to be heard, and you deserve to live, not just survive. Now that we've opened the door to these first few truths, let's keep walking through, together. Because while it's not always easy to face, it's even harder to live with regret. I remember sitting in the common area one afternoon, watching the clock tick away the hours. It's funny how in a place designed to keep you busy and engaged, you can feel lonelier than ever. That brings me to another hard truth I wish I had realized sooner. Loneliness doesn't always come from being alone. It can come from being surrounded by people who don't truly know you. In the nursing home, there were always activities, group events, games, but it often felt like I was just another body in a chair. Conversations stayed surface level, and genuine friendships were rare. Back at home, I had my neighbors, my community, even the cashier at my favorite grocery store who always asked about my day. Those small, familiar interactions had been little sparks of connection that I didn't fully appreciate until they were gone. In the nursing home, everything felt structured, almost scripted. And while structure can be comforting, it can also rob you of those little surprises, those random chats, those unexpected moments that make life feel real and rich. Another thing that caught me off guard was how easily you can lose your independence without even realizing it. When I first moved in, I thought, this will make life easier. I won't have to cook, clean, or worry about anything. And at first it was a relief, but over time, I noticed something. I wasn't deciding what I wanted for dinner anymore. I wasn't choosing when I wanted to take a walk or even when I wanted a quiet moment to myself. My days were decided for me, meal times, activities, even medication rounds. It's subtle at first, but after a while, you realize your choices have been quietly slipping away one by one. And the scariest part? You start to accept it. You start to forget that you once had a say in your own life. I missed deciding when to make a cup of tea in the evening. I missed choosing what time I wanted to go to bed without worrying if I'd miss the night nurse's rounds. It's a slow, creeping loss of independence that I wouldn't wish on anyone. Of course, safety and convenience are important, especially as we get older. No one's denying that. But giving up complete control over your life isn't a small thing. It chips away at your spirit bit by bit. And sometimes it's not even the big freedoms you miss. It's the tiny ones. The freedom to open your window wide on a cold morning just because you feel like it. The freedom to bake cookies at 9 o'clock at night if the mood strikes. In a nursing home, those small freedoms are often traded away quietly, without anyone even mentioning it. Then there's the issue of care. I went in thinking, they'll take great care of me here, professional nurses, staff who are trained to help, and many of them do care truly. But the reality is, no one will ever care for you like you care for yourself. Staff members have dozens of residents to look after. They're busy, rushed, stretched thin, and while they might want to give each person individual attention, the truth is, time and energy don't always allow it. Some days, you might feel like just another task on their list. And that's a hard truth to accept when you've spent a lifetime taking care of yourself, your family, your home. There were times when I needed something simple, a glass of water, an extra blanket, and I had to wait. Sometimes minutes, sometimes hours. Not because anyone was cruel or neglectful, but because that's just how the system works when you're one of many. And it made me realize how precious it is to have the ability to meet your own needs. To look after yourself on your own schedule, without having to depend on a call button or hope someone remembers you. Looking back, I realized that moving into a nursing home felt like trading my vibrant, messy, independent life for something that looked neat and safe on the outside, but came with hidden costs on the inside. And those costs aren't always visible at first. They sneak up on you. They wear you down quietly. Another hard truth I wish someone had warned me about was the loss of personal identity. When you live in a nursing home, it's easy to start feeling like just another resident, another room number, another chart on the nurse's clipboard. People mean well, but there's so much focus on efficiency and routines that your personal story, everything that makes you you, can get lost. Back in my own home, my walls were filled with memories, pictures of my family, souvenirs from travels, books I'd collected over a lifetime. Every object had a story, a piece of who I was. But in the nursing home, my world was reduced to a small room with a few framed photos and a handful of personal items. I tried to make it feel like home, but it never truly did. It felt temporary, no matter how long I stayed, and when people look at you differently, more as someone to be cared for than someone who still has dreams, opinions, and passions, you start to see yourself differently too. You start to shrink a little inside. I missed being seen as a neighbor, a friend, a storyteller. I missed people asking for my advice, for my recipes, for my help. I missed being needed. In the nursing home, I wasn't the person who used to organize community potlucks or volunteer at the library. I was just another elderly person in need of care. And after a while, you start to believe that's all you are. Another truth that's even harder to admit. Family visits change. At first, everyone makes an effort. Your children, your grandchildren, your old friends, they come, they smile, they bring flowers. But life gets busy. Visits become shorter, less frequent. And when they do come, sometimes they struggle with what to say. They see you differently too, frailer, more dependent, and that can make conversations awkward or rushed. You find yourself holding on to every minute, stretching out every goodbye. You don't blame them, you know they have lives, jobs, children of their own. But the loneliness cuts deeper when you realize that the world outside is moving on without you. And the guilt, the guilt weighs heavy. You start thinking, maybe it's better if I don't ask them to come too often. Maybe I'm being a burden. It's a heartbreaking shift that no one talks about when you're making the decision to move into a home. No one tells you how much you'll miss the messy, lively chaos of family life. The noisy dinners, the surprise visits, the everyday moments that used to seem so small but now feel monumental. Finally, perhaps the most difficult truth. Regret doesn't always come all at once. It builds. It's not like one day you wake up and think, I made a mistake. It's in the small moments, the quiet dinners, the missed birthdays, the empty afternoons, that regret creeps in. It builds when you realize that you traded something irreplaceable for convenience and safety. Yes, it was safer. Yes, it was easier in some ways. But was it living? Not for me. Not in the way I wanted to live the final chapters of my life.